Hey, everybody. Hi, Ronan. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, thank you for having me. Hello, everybody.
We got Frog and Sean, Daniel. It's good to see y'all. There's Chuck.
Hey, Daniel, I don't think I've seen you around. Welcome. Hey, Chuck. Trying to catch up with everybody in chat. Hey, Pappy Two Bears.
Hi, Pappy. So, how are y'all all doing? Ooh, cucumber salad. That sounds good. How you been doing, Ronan?
I've been keeping busy, trying to do as much as I can. I've had some nice weather, so trying to keep ahead of things outside with the chickens. I got a rooster. I don't know if I've shared that publicly yet. So it's been fun. I got the rooster a while back, about I don't know, a week or two, probably two or better weeks ago. And so I've been collecting the hen's eggs and I got them in my incubator and we'll see what happens.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was watching rescues hatch. That's pretty neat. I haven't ever seen that done. My son does it, him and his wife. They hatch eggs, but I've never done it. Hey,
We
bug
did
out.
it in elementary school. I remember we hatched eggs and we did the whole thing. And, a lot's changed since then, I guess. Technology has improved and kind of made incubating eggs a little easier, I'd say. I've been looking at some of these dry incubators, I think they're called.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I
See,
don't have anything. Yeah,
because I heard rescue saying, well, people in chat were giving tips too, and they were saying that the humidity is what thins the shells so they can break out of them easier. I don't know. I've never done it.
yeah. I don't know because like if you obviously I don't know, but like the end doesn't offer moisture, do they? They just sit on the egg and rotate it, right? And they're kind of like if you ever seen a hen rotate an egg in her nest, she's not very gentle with it. You know what I mean? She's like stepping on it, spinning
Yeah.
it around and stuff, and they still hatch.
Hey, Regina. Happy. I'm so sorry. All of y'all having snow. We haven't had a winter. It's 70 degrees today. I don't know if it's going to just hit all of a sudden and we're not going to be prepared, or if it's just going to skip and our vegetation's going to tell them what. Because I'm sure everything thinks it's spring already. I haven't really looked. I need to look at that and see what the vegetation's doing. I was supposed to do that today, but we had a dog getting teeth pulled.
Yikes!
Yeah, I think he had uh, 4 or 5 of them pulled. The dog before him had like 12 pulled. Pulling teeth day.
That's no good.
And check. That's the way I do cucumber salad. Mm.
Yeah, I like that. You put a little of that tzatziki sauce in there, make it real good.
Right? Okay, I understand. Wait, what did Bug Out say? 4 inches of snow the other day here in Lubbock. Then it melted the next morning, but spring is in the air. I can't believe, well, I guess North Texas always gets it. Hey, Marshmallow Man, we just don't. You need me to unlock Frog 5. I'll look into that frog. I can't do it right now, but hey, Bruce, how are you doing? Christy
I thought
Cat.
the groundhog said that like we're gonna get an early spring or something. I just kind of overheard some stuff. I wasn't really paying attention.
I I never did hear what the groundhog said. um, I usually go by the Farmer's Almanac, and it was wrong this year. Um, I don't usually see that, but so it makes you wonder, you know. I don't know. Crazy times. It's cute. It's cute. So, um, I keep seeing these headlines over and over and over about the some kind of a security breach, and the FBI is the one that's putting it out. So I think I can say it because they keep saying, um, and so who knows what is going on, but I know all of y'all are preppers. I'm not real good at prepping. I mean, the stuff to get through winter and summer, like to stay a little cooler or warmer, stands alone. Good to see you. I have stuff like that, but um, I'm really bad at stocking up on food and water, like the necessities. So I'm
Well,
working
that's
on that.
probably,
But
yeah, that's something you should probably, I mean, you should be careful telling this community that because it's like, you should be like expert level prepper hanging out with this crew. You know what I mean? Like, I'm surprised
I
you don't have
know for
water
4 years
tanks. Yeah, get your water
listening,
tanks, get your beans
well,
and rice.
and yeah, but so here where I'm at, it's so dry all the time. Um, so to collect water would be, um, I mean, I could collect it. We did have a week of rain, but then
What are
to
you going to
keep it
collect it
stored
in?
right. And but how long does it stay okay in one of those containers? Hey, Chuck.
It stays as, and then if you're not sure, you boil it and filter it before you drink it. Doesn't matter. Keep it
It
covered
doesn't
and out of the
matter.
sunlight. Keep it covered and out of the sunlight so you don't get algae and stuff like that growing in it. And then before you use it, boil it, filter it. That's the best you could do. You could put some bleach in
I'm
there,
gonna
leave it in
find
the
it.
sun. That's something the
Yeah.
missionaries used to do. They'd take a gallon of water, put a few drops of bleach in there, shake it up, leave it in the sun for 20 minutes, and when you have water you could drink, it's not going to taste good. It'll taste like drinking swimming pool water, but at least you're not, you know.
So if you put a little bleach in it, it'll keep it longer.
Yep.
That, or
Kills
if
the,
you got a water jug, you save you filtered water in, throw some. If you got the real copper pennies, a piece of copper pipe or whatever, to keep the algae and other stuff down too.
Okay,
but
because
I
it's
think one problem, Bonnie, is don't let those little things stop you from making steps towards your goal, right?
Nope.
Like first get the jugs so you can fill them with water. Once you have the jugs filled with water, then you can solve the problem of what happens if that or if that or if that. I'm not saying, do some homework and stuff, but at this point, you need to be a little further along, I would say. Like you need to get the 4 or 5 gallon things from the store with water, and then you
He
can
told you
use
to grab
them.
them jugs.
Yep.
I have those jugs, but then there's not a lid on it, and so I didn't know if I could use those. And where I'm
Sure.
at, it's kind of hard to not have it in the sun. Also, it's going to be in the sun.
You
You
have to
know,
build
another thing
something
I
to keep
didn't
it
think
up.
of, but if you got any old pennies, look when they were all copper, save them up and drop one of them in each jug too, and that'll keep any algae or whatever down.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, the copper
Hi,
will keep
Spotted
algae.
Rabbit. Good to see you.
You got to keep it in the basement, keep it under your house, build something to
I,
keep it under,
If you never
dig
need
a
it, hell,
hole in the
you can
ground.
wash with it or pour it down the flush the toilet if you have to.
Yep.
yeah, I can't get it under the house, but
When you fill those
like
tanks up, if you don't have a lid, you fill it all the way up to the top, and you can cover it with saran wrap and put a rubber band around it. So that way you're keeping oxygen out.
Hey, Marshmallow.
Snowman.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, the bleach thing. There's only you can only put so much bleach in per liter or gallon.
Yeah,
Yes,
cap
I've
full of
seen
the bleach
that.
Yep.
bottle. Fine.
Yeah.
That's I
I
think
remember a buddy of mine making pee a lot and clean his system out of when he had to go make a pee test at work. He would take a cap full of water and pour or bleach and pour it in a glass of water and drink it.
ew.
Yep, Bruce. That's what I'm
He just
saying,
made it
Bruce.
pee a lot. He goes, hell, you don't know how much water they put in a lot of these trailer parks. They pour gallon after gallon in their water reserves. So
Yeah, city
I
water is
know
the same thing.
last night when I turned on my hydrant in the kitchen, you could smell bleach really strong. And I was like, well,
You got a hydrant in your kitchen?
well, faucet, the
Oh, dang.
what do you call it?
And
Yeah,
then
faucet.
depending upon the containers you have, what you set them on. If you set them on, like say, finished hardwood flooring,
hmm
the finish will seep up through the containers, and you get into the water.
So if I set it on the ground, same with the dirt.
I don't know. I don't want to. With the channel I watched on the water, and there's a few of them, but like if you put them on, just be careful what you put them on, right? If there's like
Yeah.
you know how your wood flooring's got a finish on it, right? Or cement or what have you. Just be careful of what you exactly put on it, because what will happen is it could bleed through the plastic and get into the water.
Okay. I mine's carpet or vinyl, I guess. But I have, like, if I put it up under my deck, I have these cement squares that I could use those, I guess. The concrete stepping stone type things.
Yeah, I would probably put an untreated piece of wood underneath it, or like the tiles on your counter.
Yeah.
I would put them on that.
Hmm. Okay. And so anyway, it's been suggested to stock up for 90 days. Meds, foods, whatever you can. Just
So,
might
I
be
mean, if you take that in mind, typically they say we should have about a gallon of water a day. That's to drink and cook and clean kind of stuff with. It's not necessarily to drink the whole gallon, but
Mhm.
so you want
Gallon
to kind of.
for you just to drink. Just
I
to
don't
drink.
think I drink. I don't think I drink a gallon of water today, like in today's day and age. But you're right. I'm not saying that. I just probably need to drink more water. It
That's
sounds
if you're
like.
trucking and moving too, yeah, especially. But sitting still, we need what, at least 6, 8 ounce glasses a day or something like that minimum.
That's
Well, I
a
thought it
good
was
point.
more.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if you're active and working, you got to stay hydrated. Otherwise, you get headaches and it just makes life miserable when you get dehydrated.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking for some of the prepper channels that I talk or am with. They say a gallon a day because what they're doing is stocking firewood in the summer, bringing it in the winter, or they're gardening, or they're always doing something, right? So that if they say a gallon, right, you prepare for it, at least the gallon, right? And if you don't need it because you're sitting around one particular day, if you only need like a liter, like a third of a gallon, well, that's just a little extra water for you to have down the road.
I think that sounds like pretty good advice.
It's cooking. Huh.
One cool thing I got for those 4 gallon, I'm going to call them the water bubbler containers. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. The water cooler containers, maybe. Is there a
Mhm.
better word for that thing?
Yeah, like they bring the little blue bottles and stick on top, them sort of light things like that.
Yup, exactly those is what I'm talking about. And I went to the hardware store. This was, I want to say, a couple years back anyway. And they have these really inexpensive pumps you can get for those bottles that just go, there's a tube, goes all the way to the bottom, has the pump on top. I think I paid $8 for it, if I remember correctly. So that way you can get the water back out of that big old jug without having to lift it and pour it and splash it around and that
Yeah,
kind of
I
stuff.
know what you're talking about. Exactly what you're talking about there. For I've seen them with gas cans and furnace tanks, like your oil furnace tanks, but just on a smaller version.
Yep, I'm going to see if I can get it set up to show you guys the picture. I don't know if this is going to work. It's been kind of goofy.
William.
I think depending upon how you say what you save them into, like let's say you get 5 gallon pails for someone for sake and reason, you got 5 gallon pails, right? With the lids, you should be changing
Yeah.
them out every 6 months. But if you got the 18 liter jugs from the grocery mall, like that one, yeah. If you got those kind of jugs there, probably a little bit of bleach, say it's for argument's sake, it's a drop per gallon, right? And
Yeah.
that's say 5 gallons there. You put 5 drops in it. It probably lasts, say maybe. Don't quote. Do your research, right? Say it lasts 7 months, right? For argument's sake, but the 5 gallon pails, I'd be doing it in 3 months because it's the 5 gallon pails aren't like that one. That one you got in that picture there is more for food preservation or
Right.
water, right?
Yeah. And then
So
I know you can get food grade 5 gallon. I know 5 and 6 gallon buckets. I've picked up food grade ones at the brew store, and there's probably other places to get them, but like your typical 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot, Lowe's, or whatever, not food grade. Be good water for the toilet.
Yeah, like I
better than
store.
nothing.
Yeah, I store them in the 5-gallon from the hardware store, but I'm changing them out minimum 6 months. Every 6 months, I'm changing them out just because of what could be in the plastic containers, right?
Yep, exactly. And these things, so you got the pump up here, you pump it up and down, the water comes out. It also has this stress relief valve because once you have enough pressure going, the water just kind of flows. So then you hit this and it lets the air out and it stops the water. You can, cover it up. But I know, I don't know what they are on, in today's prices, but I paid $8 for it and it's paid for itself time and time again.
And that's called a transfer pump?
What they call it is a portable drinking water pump. Is what they call it.
Okay.
Guess I don't know if there's a different name for it. There's the brand, has the pump and 2 tubes. It works in a lot of different containers too, because you could take the section of a tube out. It works for the shorter bottles. I've had great luck with it. And if you guys store water in these kinds of containers, I find that pump to be super beneficial. Currently, I use the water I filter in these things for my plants and my dog. Then I have my Berkey for my drinking water. But I filter it, fill these up, and then I water my plants. Got my starters going in the window.
I'm still using my bucket Berkeys.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can't beat that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got one outside I use, and I just put rainwater through it. I catch myself back in the summer drinking out of it, but I left water sitting in it too long. I got to rinse them out. Drink straight rainwater, dip it out of a tub out there and pour it through the filter and drink the water and water plants with it. Hey, Frog.
See, I've got a gajillion gallon jugs. I guess I could fill those up and just...
Now, I don't know for sure, but they do say storing water in milk jugs is a bad thing.
Yeah, there's milk, dairy products in general. I don't know. There's some sort of bacteria in there that if it's left unwashed with even bleach in the milk jugs, right? As long as it's disinfectant.
Yeah, you would take one of the jugs, fill it halfway full of water, and then put you like a half a cup of peroxide in it, shake it up, and then keep pouring it into the next jug, shake it out, and then rinse the first one out. That'll kill any kind of mildew, bacteria, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, Bug Out did say it was for the toilet, so... Hey, Pebbles.
I was going to look that up for you about the pennies.
Another thing, since we're talking preps, like salt, right? Like stuff like that. Salt's a good prep. I think that's something we kind of take advantage of, just having all over the place all the time.
I have been stocking up on salt, and I have a lot of beans and rice. So, I mean, it's not like starve here. That's what, I know it's the middle of the month, and a lot of us do all our groceries first of the month for the month, but just to get a little bit extra canned beans, bags of beans, but they're still not too terribly expensive, and they're good for you. They have a lot of nutrients in them.
I think I just dropped a link on that copper. It says right here, Bonnie, one of copper's benefit appears to be backed by science, its antibacterial effect. Both old and recent evidence suggests that copper may be used in water purification or sterilization.
Oh,
And I dropped a link to it. So old copper pennies will work. It don't take a lot either. Somebody told me take an old piece of copper water pipe, put it at the bottom of my 5-gallon bucket, and he goes, I won't ever have to worry about the water mildewing.
and I just saw this video, and I'll see if I can find it and post it on the community page. This man, he was saying you can grow 40 pounds of food in your home without sunlight. And I was like, I need to check into this. So I just saved it. I haven't really watched it, but that's pretty amazing.
It is, but don't get too caught up in that kind of stuff. I mean, if you wanted to do that in the middle of a hectic situation, I don't think is the time to learn new things. Not trying to
I know.
be a smart ass or nothing, but I mean, stick to the basics. Go with your gut. Another prep one of my things that I like to stock up on is apple cider vinegar. I like to, in the morning when I wake up, I'll put a little bit of that in water and drink that down first thing.
Yes.
Y'all ignore if you're reading that website about the WHO stuff on there talking about copper toxicity. I know certain amounts of anything heavy metal poison can be, but our bodies are made out of a lot of copper and carbon and water. So
Bags of dried beans or seeds. So does that mean like to make sprouts out of, or you can
Dried
plant them
beans?
and they'll grow? Yeah.
No, and you buy a bag of dry beans from the grocery store versus canned. You soak them in water and you cook them the next day, right? I'll give you guys a hint. If you want to make good beans, you buy the dry beans from the store. You go to the gas station, buy the cheapest, shittiest beer they have there. It's called Natty Daddy. It's not, I don't even think it's beer. It's like disgustingness. But what you do is you soak your beans in that beer overnight in the fridge, and the next day when you go to cook it, oh, it's the best beans you'll ever eat.
Uh-huh.
That's just my secret recipe. It's not secret anymore. You're welcome, world. You're welcome.
I don't
That's
know.
right, Bug Out. They are. They're seeds and beans. You could do both.
Blueberries. And that's, I have grapevines all over the place, and I now that I can, I need to get out there and check them whenever they produce, see if they're
Yeah.
thing, because they should be. They're wild Mustang grapes that
The
just
wild
grow.
grapes I have out here, they grow up. They're real tiny and they have seeds, but I pick them and I make vinegar out of it. Basically, one year I tried making wine and it kind of got sour, so I just ended up with vinegar, which is still useful, still good. It's just,
Yes.
alcohol got screwed up.
And I forgot I do have a canister of that. It's powdered whole milk. I did get that sometime along the way.
Yeah, a lot of these dry good foods, like your dry beans, pasta, rice, put them in mason jars and vacuum seal them. They last longer.
Yep.
yeah, even
And
if you
what
just put the mason jar, they last longer being sealed or just closed up in there, keeps most things out of it. So
vacuum
That
seal?
too.
I saw one guy was doing it, didn't have a way to vacuum seal them or dry can them. So he would take and put bags of beans in the deep freeze and leave them in there for 2 days, pull them out and he'd pour them in jars and just close the jars up. He said anything in there got killed. And
Yeah, that's what I did. I put them all in the deep freeze, and then they're in a tote, sealed tote. So I don't know.
he was on TikTok or one of the other, I forget it, Broke Ass Prepper, I think is what his name was. He said there's always ways of doing things. He said it might not last as long as if you dry can them, or like he's talking about vacuuming, but he goes, but it'll last longer being in a bag.
Yeah. Yeah, I use the mason jars for a lot of stuff. Single, right? So I'll go buy a big bag of rice or something and put in mason jars in it. It'll a year or something, right? So
Yeah, I have so many jars. My best friend from high school, she gave me tons of jars, and so I got lids, but I haven't done any of the dry canning, any of the canning that I had wanted to do.
now keep in mind, I live in Canada, so I don't know if some of the things I got here would be in the States or anywhere else. But I got this seal meal thing
Yes.
with a hose and with these other attachments that look like this, and they go right on top of your mason jar. So I got a normal mouth here and a wide mouth one here, and the little hole there, the hose thing goes right in there, and you work the seal meal like you were gonna seal up a bag, but it seals up mason jars.
Yep. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom just gave me one and said it does that, but I didn't know what the attachment was to the jar. So thank you for showing that.
Yeah.
You have to put the ring on it, just the little lid part, and it'll suck it down. Then you spin the ring on when you're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know a lot of people that store their cans like that without the ring on it. And they say it's so that, because that ring doesn't hold it sealed, right? The jar has to be sealed by pressure inside, and that's what keeps it shut. And now this is just their preference. I don't know where they got this, but they say they like storing it with the rings off, because that way if they have a false seal, they'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
They'll be able to see it sooner.
Yeah,
I store mine just like that with the lids off, and sometimes you'll get a funny smell from it when it goes bad, but it's all the way in the back. You don't know where it's coming from, but by the time you get to it, depending on when you get to it, there'll be like mold or something growing on the top, and it's not good.
Right.
Yeah, I even see where some people they put them upside down without the ring on them after they seal up. Probably to show it, so it'll show up dripping or something if it does have false seal.
You could look into canning water, Bonnie, if you have a bunch of empty jars and lids around and nothing to put in them, and you're worried about storing water. There's something called, I think they call it like sterile water, where basically you're boiling the water in the jar, you're boiling the water, hot water bath, canning it, and that water is good if like you have to wash out a wound or anything. It's sterilized.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can still drink it if you need to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Boiled, sealed, no air getting in it, nothing getting out. It's easier to store. Now, if you think about it, if you need a gallon a day, that's 4 quart jars, right? I believe it's 4 quarts to a gallon. So that's like a day. It adds up. But if you got the empty jars and nothing going in them, you might as well use them for that, or some of them for that. Set your mind at ease a little bit. Then you got some water storage. And
Yeah, some people that I know, what they'll do is when they're water bathing or pressure canning, and got one jar that still could fit in there, they'll put water in it and boom, right in, and they'll process it with whatever they're canning, so that the
Yeah,
mason jar.
they do that so they have a full rack, I guess, so the water level's high enough so they're used to putting a certain amount for a certain amount of jars or whatever.
Yeah,
They plate save it, and then they just put the water up too.
I don't know, Pebbles. You got to try it for yourself to find out.
Marshmallow, you dry can, Bonnie, you know about dry canning too, don't you?
I've seen it done. I used to watch North Shore, and he was doing a lot of the dry canning, but he was also using something to suck the oxygen out of the jars, and so and
They do
whatever
that by use your oven, put your lid, top part of your lid, not the
yes,
ring, and your jar in the oven. I forget what the temperature you put it at. You put that in there like that, get them hot, take them out. I don't remember if you warm the beans up or not, but then you like fill the jars up with beans, put the lid on it, put a ring on it, not super tight, put it back in the oven. So many of them get them filled, put them back in the oven for a certain amount of time, a certain amount of pressure. When you take them out, they'll create their own vacuum, just like pressure canning.
yeah, I've heard something very similar to what you said there, Chuck, but I don't want to speak about it too much because I got the vacuum sealer thing here, right? So
That's telling people out there that look into it. I'm not saying to do it the way I said it. Look into it. It's fairly easy. I watched the lady do it. She put up a 50-pound bag of pinto beans. She's putting them all up. She had jars everywhere in that house. She'd take them out of the oven, set new jars in there, get started again, load them up, load the oven back up, put them on the counter, and then she started hearing beep, 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 beep. And it's her on her video, you hear the jars popping. The one that didn't, she'd look at them, wipe the top, stick them in with the next batch, and see if it held its seal in.
oh yeah, it can be done in the oven.
That was just dry can. It wouldn't be like cooking it in there, but it's like, I guess it kills all the whatever's on any of the beans. And I guess she did rice that way too. Everything that they get dry, she puts up. Her husband says she puts everything up like that.
see that's I've seen where you can do everything except for brown rice because the oil's in it, and it seems like they said sugar will turn to a rock.
Yeah,
Um,
caramelized, whatever, like cooking it.
and I'm not really wanting to use oxygen absorbers because
Another chemical.
yeah, and it just the whole, I mean, seeing the directions on them whenever I'd look them up, I was like, you have to be so careful with them.
They are. Yeah, I was watching a lady last night put up pickles out of her garden. They're big enough in a quart jar that she could fit 4 in the bottom side by side, and then she shoved 2 along sideways in the top, put a certain amount of water in there and the vinegar and the seasoning stuff, and she hot water can them. She actually did. A lot of people say just they put their pickles with vinegar and put them on a shelf. She was doing it that way. Hey, kiddo. Hey, Ann.
Hi, Ann. Good to see you. I don't know.
Medical stuff is a good thing to prep on.
Yes. And the liquid IV, that's something that I do need to get. I don't know if y'all have heard of that, but it's
Yeah, the electrolytes.
yes,
Yeah.
hydrating.
You have one of them once a week, isn't it?
I'm sorry.
You only have one of them like once a week or so.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it daily. And they're pricey too. But
My dog's over here snoring. I'm sorry. I tried kicking him, but I just can't bring myself to do that.
Most preppers, when they got Pebbles, when they got freezers and fridges,
hey, Brew.
got a generator somewhere lurking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but sooner or later that gas will run out. That's a bad thing. I need to start canning all my. I got nowhere to put it, or I'd do it. I need to build some
You,
shelves.
you
Yeah.
could do like the Amish do, and if the power does go out, you just cover it with as many quilts and blankets to try to keep that cold in there. You're going to try to insulate that freezer
Yeah,
as best as you can.
Yeah, they are expensive. Look out. I've got two. I'm probably due to get another
hey,
for
Brew.
that. Annoying anybody.
Pebbles, you need a cool down period. All right. I think you need to take 60 seconds and take some breaths.
Pebbles is flirting with you.
I'm flirting back. If it's a she, if it's a dude, I ain't flirting. Knock it off.
Hey, Bruce. Good to see you. So, with all the doom and gloom we've been hearing, um, I just want to read this. It, okay, it's really long. Oh, where's my little piece of paper? Okay, 7 through 9. I'll just read that part. Oh, I'll just read the first part. This is Proverbs 3. My son, do not forget my law, but let your heart keep my command. For length of days and long life and peace they will add to you. Let not mercy and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart, and so find favor and high esteem in the sight of God and man. That's unusual that says in man. Anyway, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It will be health to your flesh and strength to your bones. Honor the Lord with all your possessions and with the first fruits of all your increase. So your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will overflow with new wine. I just thought it was a positive sounding good scripture to read. Because I don't know if y'all watch Prepper Nation. John's pretty good with history. He used to do a whole lot of history, kind of still does. And one of the things he was saying today was you got to find a way to enjoy life, no matter what's going on. And that's one of the things that I know a lot of people here, me anyway, is some
All you
people,
worry about is dying. You ain't gonna worry. Ain't gonna have no time for living.
well, yeah. But some people freak out or spin out or whatever you call it, panic. And so hopefully the people who don't do that can be there for the ones that do that. I know if I'm panicking, just having someone to say it's going to be okay, or a hug. A hug is major. But a lot of times there's nobody here, and so I don't know. You can hug yourself too. It's not quite the same, but
When you're prepping, having a dog, like a big dog, to help you lug some of the stuff around is good too.
yeah. King Curse. You narcissists with dads. I don't know what you're talking about, Garrett. Hello, Garrett. Hey, Willie D. It finally snowed. Y'all can keep your snow.
So you had can I ask about the proverb you read? You had mentioned something about where it said to find favor with the Lord and men.
Yes.
Is that something we kind of got hung up on?
No, I just thought it was unusual because everything says it's kind of like, oh, why you ask me these hard questions now?
That's the important question, is why waste our time and talk about nothing when we can, grow a little bit.
Yes. And I'm sorry. Pebbles is cracking me up. Because doesn't it say a few times not to follow man, and
Well, winning favor with men isn't the same thing as following them, right?
right, but it just seems I mean, it'd be good to have favor with men, and I'm assuming it
Well,
means men and women,
of
humanity.
mankind, of course. Let's get
Okay.
over that first. So it's
Okay.
not just specifically men, but mankind, right?
Yeah.
Your fellow human beings that you've come across in your daily travels and journeys, right? So mankind, right? Woman, there's man in there too. So yeah, as you find favor with, how about let's say find favor with your neighbor, right? What if it said that? It doesn't say that. I'm
Exactly.
not trying to rewrite the Bible, but I'm trying to, expand
Put it in
on.
perspective. Got it. And that's I shouldn't have commented on it. I just thought it was unusual that it said that. But I
I
do
mean,
understand. I can
I
understand how you would want. Everyone wants favor with others, or else you're going to be what, arguing and not getting along, right?
exactly. Yep. Well, and it tells us first to, find favor with the Lord. So you do that first. And finding favor with your fellow mankind, human beings, neighbors, whatever. Once you do that, you want, how should I say this? That opens up the door for them to be able to receive grace, right? If you're an asshole and you're trying to share the gospel with somebody, they're not going to hear it, right?
Exactly. And
Right.
that was part of. So when I titled this, I had a whole different discussion in mind, and um, then I was like, well, that's kind of a negative I didn't want to do that because I know, I don't know. Yesterday could have been hard for a lot of people. So I kind of wanted more of a positive, and y'all have helped with that. Y'all have been amazing with all the tips and everything about prepping. And I guess that I've kind of stayed away from the prepping. Not stayed away, that's the wrong word, because man, I've learned so much from everybody. I haven't followed through like I should have. And because I've been so busy with everything else, I've had a lot of things going on, and so the past couple of days, for some reason, I have had a really high energy, and I've been getting a lot done that needed to be done in the home, not canning and stuff like that, but just my day-to-day things that I have to do, and taking care of the granddaughter and everything is really time consuming. And so thinking about canning or adding something to that, it's kind of overwhelming for me. And I see where a lot of people are not that way. I can see that they're doing this stuff and getting it done. And
Even if you can 1 day a week, it's still better than nothing.
Yeah, if you put up 1 jar of pickles a week, it's still you did something positive.
And that's the thing. I don't even know where to get canning cucumbers. The cucumbers you buy in the store, I'm not going to can those. They're too big, and I want
Covered in bags.
Yes, and
You'd have laughed
Unless
earlier. I should have videotaped and put it on my wall on here, my Facebook or YouTube. I took the cucumbers and that I made that with and put them. It's in the thing I use is a big 9x13 Tupperware lock top tub. Well, anyway, all my tomatoes and cucumbers, I put them in there, poured a bunch of vinegar and baking soda on it to get them to react, and then put water in there. And the cucumbers were sitting there rolling, spinning because of the fizz and whatever they had on the outside of them. Weirdest thing I ever saw. They looked like paddle wheels spinning in there in that water.
I'm pretty sure you'll find some at that at your local farmer market that you go to. You know, you're probably coming up pretty soon for you guys if you're having that kind of weather before you
yes,
know it. If you're worried about canning, hey, start with water. Can four quarts of water, see what it's like, see what happens. You know, that way you'll get a chance to use the tools. You have your tong ready to pull the jars out. You get to hear the pop of the lids. It's fun. It's kind of, for me it is. Every time I can stuff and I hear that little pop, it's satisfying. It's awesome. So you'll get to experience that a little bit.
Pickles, I was making cucumber salad. I put the tomatoes and that in there just to clean the stuff off the outside. I went ahead and peeled the cucumbers anyway, but I used 5 medium tomatoes. Those 2 of them great big cucumbers, they're probably a foot long, and then a half of an onion the size of a football, and I made a big thing of cucumber salad. I poured vinegar, a little bit of vinegar and sugar, and then some Italian dressing, salt and pepper on them, and mixed them up good. And now they're in the fridge. I'm gonna let them sit overnight to get sort of pickly.
yeah, and yeah, they make you burp, but that's a
They
good
do
thing.
they make burp-free pickles. Just saying.
Yeah, them
Sure.
Italian, use them Italian cucumbers. They won't do that. I need to try to grow some of them this year. Shit, unless they start putting everything out, I need to build a damn roof that the sun can get through to put all my stuff under.
See, and we have a girl local that she has this ginormous place where she's growing, and she'll come and teach you. She offers to help you in any way, learning to grow. I'm not sure if she does canning and stuff, but she would probably be a good source of produce like that. And then the farmer's market. Last time I went to the farmer's market, they didn't have any canning cucumbers. They had the big ones. But
Usually those are early in the season. They grow quicker and they don't grow as big.
okay.
Hell, use any of them if you just make a bunch of them like they do the spears. Cut them in
Yeah,
slices.
spears, slices. Yeah, heck yeah. That's a good point, Chuck.
Well,
And if
that's
they're weird coating on them, go ahead and peel them. Hell, it ain't gonna hurt them none. It
yeah.
just have the pickle stuff would soak in them better all the way around. Then, hell, I know my grandma and them used to pickle watermelon rind.
And she would eat the watermelon rinds.
Huh?
She would eat the watermelon rinds.
Yeah, yeah. They cut the watermelon in half and cut it in so many pieces, and then they cut the watermelon out of it and put it up, and then they cut the watermelon down to where it's just all white. Cut it up, and however you're going to do your pickles, and then you eat it. It tastes just like pickles.
The biggest thing, doesn't matter where it is in the world, the biggest food wastage is what we don't eat that we think like for instance the watermelon rinds. We can eat them, but whoever would think to eat them? Ooh, that's gross, right?
And
Yeah.
I didn't know you could eat them. I mean, I know you can eat potato peelings. My brother and I used to always eat the peelings.
That's me. I wash the hell out of a potato, and I make baked potatoes. I'll rub them down with butter, stab holes in them, put crystal salt on top of them, and cook them in the air fryer for about 45 minutes, and put my butter and sour cream or whatever and cheese on them, and I eat potato skin and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I can my potatoes with the skins on. I'll eat the skins too.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Me,
always
that's
eat,
the best part of it.
yeah, especially if they're baked with butter or something on them and in the oven. So good.
If I don't give my watermelon rinds to my chickens, they'll start a revolution and kick me off my land. They've made this the deal they told me. If I don't give them that rind, they're gonna stop laying eggs, vote me off
Yeah.
the island.
And I saw in a chat a while back where you could use like the zucchini peelings, the peelings off of most vegetables, and make flour out of it. Did you ever hear of that?
I've heard some other I've heard a few things that can make flour.
Yeah. And all these people with the gluten issues, and one of my daughters has that really bad. She'll break out with whelps and everything if she has gluten. And so we buy all these different flours that don't have the gluten. And then whenever I saw that, I told her, I said, hey, you need to start checking into these things. Eric, it's so good to see you. Bless your heart. Condolences. Keeping you in prayer.
Another good thing for prepping is cast irons cookware.
Yeah, I have a skillet and that's it.
Up here in Canada, today we had a power failure. had to cook on the barbecue. I'll never take Teflon frying pans to a barbecue or a fire.
Pebbles. Here, I'll show you what that looks like. I went and got a little bit of it. I made it. I cut it all real thin. Well, hell, I might have to turn it anyway. So let's see. I cut it up small so it'll absorb more stuff.
Wait, show that again. Let me enlarge below. There we are. Oh yeah. Girl do. I like anything with it.
You should probably wash it. You should probably wash that fork and spoon if you've been using it for the last 22 years.
And me and Ronan were talking earlier before we got off the phone. We're both talking about food. Instead of making some, I made this. Didn't eat. And I'm sitting here. I'm gonna get into it now. A little bit of it. That's why I cut it up so thin so I can get in it.
It's good. I mean, and the cucumbers is a good source of hydration, good vitamins. You know, tomatoes the same way. A lot of these watermelon, obviously, like if when we're in a situation we're prepping water and stuff, we're looking to stay hydrated. These things will also help us, right?
Yeah, brew. They're good for you. You can candy them too. You can make a simple syrup and put them in and cook it down and bake them, and they'll be like candy.
And so you can eat orange and lemon peelings, and
Yep.
well, you know we zest lemons, so obviously you can eat them. So, but the orange and lemon, if you boil that, that's what makes the, is it horse? Makes something good for you when you're not feeling good. Or grapefruit. Lemons and grapefruit. It can be oranges or grapefruit, either one. I can't have grapefruit, so I use oranges.
I sometimes take my lemons, like I got a lemon juicer thing here, and I'll stick all my lemons, like the peels, in the freezer. And I'll take 3 or 4 of them and put them in water, like a coffee jug, like a coffee make pot thing, full of water, and got yourself some lemon water.
Yep.
Yeah, I do that too. And I just saw this lady making a tea with banana. It was the whole banana, and she said if you're worried about the sugar, you can just use the peels. And she would boil it and then drink the water off of it, off the peels.
Yeah, even Life said that you can use it for vinegar cleaner too there.
Yep, that's a good point.
Use what for?
Lemon peels for vinegar cleaner.
Huh. I haven't tried that. I use salt and vinegar to clean my cutting board because you're not supposed to get them wet. Not salt and vinegar, salt and lemon.
I had a buddy of mine I grew up around. He'd take a lemon and cut it up in slices and eat it with his like sandwich or whatever. Like after he was done, like, kind of like people would do oranges.
Mm-hmm.
I never liked it that much. Lime's all right. Lemon's like something is different.
I like taking a shot of tequila, licking a line of salt, and sucking on a lime.
Yep.
They'll kill anything in your gut.
I don't know nothing about that Cuervo.
Um, Pebbles, you can cut the banana up into big chunks and boil it. And you're just using the water off of it. And Frog, not yet.
You
I
get
told you I have to do that when I'm not live. Sorry.
Is that for the potassium, the banana tea or whatever?
Makes awesome plant water for your in-house plants, your garden, all that.
Yeah, I bake my my banana peels. I'll put them in my oven at about 280 for until they're nice and dry and they can break up in your hand. Then I'll stick them into the blender and blend them up and throw them into my garden.
Yeah, make plant candy,
Yeah.
I was watching one of the guys talking about he keeps a sprayer around with soda, baking soda and water, and he sprays the majority of his plants. He sprays any of them that the baking soda doesn't bother, so it keeps molds away, funguses away, keeps bugs away. I didn't realize that. That's what I should have put on my stuff last year. But I think what got a hold of my stuff was all that stuff that was in the air. That stuff would settle on your car hood and almost look like rust.
Yeah, it was probably from the forest fires from up here in Canada.
Yeah, that or the stuff they were dropping out of airplanes too.
Frog, I just put a note to myself in private chat. I will not forget. Why would I forget on purpose? You're in chat. Just saying.
Yeah, Annie Garvey, putting the eggshells through a coffee blend, like a coffee grinder, and turning them into powder will quicken up the eggshells what they need for the garden.
Yep. I do that. That I agree with. The garden likes that.
I thought slugs were a good thing in the garden.
No.
Not when they're eating your stuff.
It's the mealworms that you try to get in your garden.
Regular worm castings are awesome.
Yeah. Not mealworms. The mealworms you find, I believe, in like dead carcasses of animals and stuff like that.
Oh.
Rotting meat. Slugs, they'll eat some of your stuff up. They get in my cauliflower and just eat it up.
Yeah.
And if you get ladybugs, something out there that attracts them, the more ladybugs you got in your garden, the less bugs you have to worry with.
Yeah, I always have a lot of ladybugs around here. I don't know why. It just seems like a long time ago when I started the 5-gallon bucket growing the vegetables, that when I was making the soil, they were saying that I could have sworn it was mealworms in there I don't know what their purpose was, but
Worms will help the castings for one, but what they'll do is as they're digging through the ground, they make room and way for the roots and help the oxygen get in the dirt for the roots.
I think that's the way they explained it. And that's funny that Sharon said she puts salt on slugs. It gets rid of them all right. They turn into
And my brother dries them out. Dries them out and kills them.
Yes, it's mean. I felt mean when I did it. It was not nice.
I don't. Not if it's in my garden. They have the rest of the world. Why'd they pick my garden? Because they're lazy. That's why, because they're lazy and they want the easy pickings. So now you go back into nature where you came from and eat on those plants. Leave my garden alone. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Same thing with those little moles. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I'm gonna release my chickens on them. They'll get them. I've seen them do it. They're vicious.
Pebbles, where I live in Canada, up here, May 2-4 till about October, mid-October is our growing season.
Yeah, I've seen Dorinda. She showed her garden to me, and it was pretty good. I mean, she's got a really good setup. She's got the raised beds, and then she uses everything, laundry baskets, whatever. Laundry baskets are good for berries and stuff like that. And,
I do a lot of my stuff in the ground, but
mhm.
my potatoes I do in like those Rubbermaid bins, and my herbs I do out of like bathroom sinks, kitchen sinks, stuff like that. And then I got pepper plants and tomato plant starts. Like I start them from seed in the house, so that when they go outside, they're ready. They're pretty much ready to start going.
Yeah, I saw a dude where dude was smashing blueberries. I wanted to do Saskatoons, but they said way down here in Texas, even if I was able to get some, they probably wouldn't grow as hot as it gets here. So I tried a thing with blueberries. Somebody said build a like a little greenhouse thing, and what you do is take your blueberries and smash them almost completely flat, drop them in some fertile soil mixed in with worm castings and bone meal and some decent soil, and give them about an inch apart every direction. I put 11 of them in this thing out there, and I'm watching. I don't know how long they're going to grow. I had them out there for a few days when it was freezing cold. Then I set the dirt up on a 50-degree day, put it in there, and it got almost freezing again back and forth. But I figured blueberries are probably used to that kind of weather. Did lemon trees. Let me see if blueberries will work here. I need to check my lemon trees again. Last time I looked at them, they ain't looking too swift, but hell, it ain't time for them to leaf out yet anyway.
And Garvey, when do I start my seeds? About 2 weeks ago, I started my pepper and tomato plants. They're 2 of 3 plants I worry about getting started. And our last frost date is May 2-4. And then that's when I direct sow everything else, like my carrots will go out, my beans will go out, garlic will go out, onions, my potatoes will go out in April of some time. So it's the tomatoes and peppers that I got to really worry about if I want tomatoes and peppers, because they take so long to grow up here in Canada. But everything else I direct sow.
I'm gonna try to grow my own wheat this year. I uh I tested a little bit in my garden last year to see how things go. This year I'm gonna plant half a garden's worth. Well, my garden's pretty big, so I'm gonna plant half of that with wheat. And I mean, I like bread, so it's like if I'm reliant on my own land to feed myself, then I got to figure a way how to grow the wheat, mill it down, you know, and make my own flour. Um,
Yeah, trouble with wheat
also
there.
for what do you mean? Like growing it?
Yes.
Not, no. So I just
I was
Oh,
doing for us this year to start our tomato plants in February, but I'm still afraid we're going to get more freezing days. So.
I've got an indoor greenhouse, like right in my house, so it I can wait till the 2 or 3 months till May.
Yeah, you can establish some decent plants between now and then and have them ready when you put them out.
Exactly. Like,
and that's what I was gonna say. We should probably be starting in the home too, like just like they do in the north, just in case.
yeah, I'm only speaking for Ontario, Canada. For myself, right?
And that's our the beginning of the year. We never know what's going to happen because I've seen snow in April, and so but we have a longer growing season because we can grow into December usually. But
sorry.
times seem to be changing. You're fine, Ron.
Roni did it. You see him smiling on there in your picture, Ronan?
I've
He's like,
got
Guilty.
indoor greenhouses, maybe 8 by 8 feet, roughly speaking. They're and
That's a good sized greenhouse.
Yeah.
yeah,
Starts to activate. It's a good idea. What light? Everybody has so much good information. Kiss off what?
I had a question. Says, did
I
anyone?
know. And, oh, is this it? To get rid of that? But what is she talking about? You saw?
Oh, just above that. Did any of you ever hear about this plaque Horseus? I don't know how to say that. Is an autoimmune disease.
Psoriasis?
There's a lot of big words there. I don't know any of them.
Is it on plants or people?
Sounds like an ancient disease, like an Ottoman from the Ottoman Empire, maybe. Kind of like an ancient disease. Kind of, I think it's along the lines of how we're seeing some stuff come back, some things that they thought they had vaccinated out of everybody.
Yeah. One of the kids had something like that, and they had to use, and I know I'm going to say it wrong. I can't remember.
Oh,
It's been
autoimmune disease. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. And maybe it's not. I am like literally the R word. I have documentation to prove it, but I don't want to say it on here to jeopardize the stream.
You're fine. It's a skin condition, and so they had to use that kind of soap and lotion, and it starts with a C. And so I always think of like citronella, but of course it's not that, but it's something that sounds kind of like that. And that's what the doctor prescribed for my grandkids because they have issues with it also. one of my daughters, her hands would crack at the seams. Everywhere that she had a crease, they would crack open, and um, I would have to put cream on her every day and then put socks over her hands so she wouldn't rub it off, or and then people think, ew, what you got going on? Because it's a skin condition. It's going to look rough.
I still like the sound of my disease better. Doesn't that sound more cool? Like, oh, I got this ancient Ottoman disease from the Ottoman Empire, dude. I'm like super rare, and like it's like a recessive gene, but it's like also a superpower at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just dropped a video on here of them lemon trees. They look pathetic, but the branches aren't dead, so maybe they'll make it.
You know what, Eric? That's so many things. What is it? Lupus. Whenever they can't figure anything out, they'll say lupus. Or
Yep.
if they can't figure anything out, they'll say, what's the other one? There's another one, that fibromyalgia. If you're in a lot of pain and they can't figure out what the pain is, that it's fibromyalgia.
Yeah, I get every now and then it flares up on me. I got it out. Something gets on my elbows. They get all dry and all scaly, but I'm also told I got psoriatic arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, regular arthritis. And then I got issues with that. And then over around my ears and scalp, something certain kind of shampoos will make my stuff get like dandruffy.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's a form of psoriasis, so that might be that too. I wouldn't doubt it.
I don't know. My grandfather, he always had really dry skin on his forehead, and my grandmother just called it the creeping crud. And then she was like, oh, like one of us kids, you've got the creeping crud too. And I have to use a daily moisturizer on my face. And my daughter bought me this one I absolutely love. It is so good.
I use big salve on my elbow sometimes. That helps. It'll make it go away for a while.
My grandmother didn't mince words too much. Aloe, yeah, aloe is good for the skin.
I'm allergic to that stuff.
Oatmeal's good. I used to make my own lotions when I started having allergies to just everything. I would go and get tofu to use as the base, and then I would boil oatmeal with extra water and then pour that water off into it, and then put olive oil, and that's what I used for lotion. Castor oil is good for the skin. Yes, it is. And also the food grade hydrogen peroxide puts, is it CO2 back in your blood?
I don't think it's that.
Yeah, any of it puts the oxygen back in you.
Yeah, the oxygen, whatever it is.
I get the regular and rub it down, like down on my ankles and stuff get dry and stuff, and I'll rub that down there. And I need to do it every day. It's especially good for your feet. It helps your circulation and stuff, puts oxygen in.
tinctures. I've been looking into that. I want to do the honey and garlic stuff
Yeah,
too.
that's a good one. Yeah, the fermented garlic and honey is really good. I have a magical butter machine that I use to make tinctures with. I've had it for years and years now, and it works great. There's other ways to do it. You can use a crock pot. You know, there's that slow infusion, heat infusion.
Oh,
I'm gonna roll out, y'all. Y'all have a good night. I'm gonna go smoke. I
all
just
right.
heard people coming around. You guys have a great night. Good to see everybody.
Good to
You
see
too,
you.
Chuck.
Thank you
It
for
was
coming up.
good talking with you.
Bye, y'all.
Good
Much love.
night. This is not true, is it? Beaver glands?
No, castor oil. I think what Frog9 is thinking about is vanilla extract comes from beaver anal glands. The artificial stuff, not the obviously not the real vanilla extract, but the I believe it's vanilla, not castor oil. I might be wrong, but
Somebody was just saying the other day they were going to make some vanilla, and I can't remember what they said they were using. Vanilla extract. Ah, artificial
castor
vanilla
oil.
comes from beaver glands, though.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
See,
Ah,
comes from beans, Frog. You got it all hoppy over there.
castor bean. Thank you, Chris Cat and Ann.
The artificial vanilla that comes from beaver secretion is even worse. Like I'd rather it be castor oil. I don't put that stuff in my baked goods. I'm like, here, Ed, put some of that beaver booty juice in my cake, please. Get out of here with
Well,
that crap.
one of my daughters, when she was like 2, the doctor had her drinking castor oil. And one
Yeah,
of my
they used to
friends,
be a medicine.
yeah, one of my friends, she was absolutely psycho pregnant and wanted to have her baby early. And she drank about like 2 or 3 bottles of castor oil, thinking that would do it. And I was like, are you stupid? What are you doing? That baby's coming when it's ready to come.
She was hoping it'd slip right out of there, huh?
I guess.
That's a good one, Al. That's a good one. I think we're starting to head south.
I know.
We're losing control here. It's
Genetic terminal disease. It destroys all organs. Oh my goodness. Sharon, I'm sorry to hear that. Where's my pen? Add her. Definitely prayers. Kiss off. Sharon, I know we all have to. This. All right, how many of y'all have had cataract surgery? talk to me. I'm freaking out about that.
My mom had it.
So did my mother too. But my mother, she'll go in for surgery for anything. She's had a cajillion surgeries. Excuse me. I've had my appendix out. Oh, my tonsils. And that's it.
She had it was good. She recovered. You know, it's difficult at first, so you got to make sure you have some help. Someone's got to be your eyes. You know, I think how she had it done was, if I remember right, they did them one at a time over time. So she
And
kind of
that's
had the one, if I remember correctly.
what the eye doctor told me. He says, after it's done, you'll be thinking it's Christmas. And I said, okay. But
Yeah, she said at first it was uncomfortable. It felt like she felt like there was a hair in there, you know, and then did some stuff.
yes,
But then, you know, after it healed, it's perfectly fine.
but that's when I lost my sight and they were trying all those drops. I was having reactions to a lot of the drops. And so I don't know if they make you put drops in your eyes afterwards, but. And then somebody told me black castor oil for the eyes.
I don't know.
Yeah, Chrissy Cat, I know it doesn't last forever. My mother, she had it done, and I think she was able to go without glasses for about 5 years. And then she's wearing glasses now. It's a thing, Frog. I've seen it. I looked it up. Black castor oil. I wouldn't put anything in my eyes. Yeah, that's what, um, when they were, of course, first they were trying antibiotics, and I have a reaction to a lot of antibiotics, so that wasn't surprising. And then they had me using the artificial tears, and then there's something homeopathic that you can buy over the counter, and I think that one was okay. I was using that one the most. And then can't remember what the other one was, but well, they won't give me glasses until I have cataract surgery. And if I don't get glasses, I can't read the chart on the wall to get my license. So I'm like, darn it. Yes, or and cold pressed. Yep. Oh, you ate the whole bag?
Good cleaning product. That cleaned you right out, did it, Ann?
And that's funny because where was I at today when they were saying it was Baron Bushcraft. They were saying that black licorice is toxic if you eat too much of it or something. And I was like, I have always loved black licorice. The jelly beans, nobody ever wanted the black ones, and so I took them. Oh my goodness, kiss off. X-ray lenses. Is the X-ray lenses in the glasses, or they put those on your eyes? Pebbles.
I'm fighting Russian hackers. They're cutting my signal and they're being aided by Pebbles. They're in collusion against me. I think Iran is in on it too, if I'm not mistaken.
Excuse me. Oh, gotta be real licorice. And it's usually me, so it's okay. I understand. It's usually me getting booted out. Bruce, since you mentioned Russia, so I was watching the rest of that Tucker Putin interview because it's long, and I had only watched half of it, and then I watched the rest of it, and he just doesn't. Uh, he doesn't sound like he wants bad things to happen. If that makes any sense. I don't know. Y'all listen to that interview. Y'all probably all have.
Kissoff asked me a question. Ronan, I know you speak a lot of God. Does he talk through wind? Like, can you hear him moving through it? Well, I do speak a lot about God because that's the number one purpose in my life, I believe. And I strive to draw near to him, live in God's will. Does he talk through the wind? Now, I know there's proverbs and stuff that kind of allude to this. Like, can you hear him moving through it? Sometimes I think it's him and he's pissed. Well, I can say that, looking at the state of the world, I don't think our good Lord looking down on us would really have much to be happy about, really. Unfortunately, I think that's the truth. However, I think that when, for us, his children, the ones that seek him, the ones that draw near to him, the ones that follow and seek his will, I don't think he would speak to us in an angry voice unless we're really off kilter there. I want to tell you that in my heart, the way I hear the voice of God is when I read the Bible. When I see grace in someone, I see the Lord in them. I see the Holy Spirit with them. As far as how I feel, things are like communication would be for me is I think sometimes people will say they have a conscience, right? They can hear their conscience speaking, their conscience told them this. I don't believe in that. I believe that is the Holy Spirit. And the more you hone in on that, the more aware of that you are, the more you move closer to that. So when you say, like, does he speak through the wind, does these kinds of things, I think often the world around us brings notions to our mind, and the world he made us. So he can, in a sense, direct us through that. I would say, in my personal opinion, I'm not like, a preacher or nothing, but I'm just saying. So that conscience voice, that little thing in us that says, this is bad, don't do that. This is, this is what I want you to do, kind of a thing. I don't give credit to a conscience or just an extra part of myself. I take that as the Holy Spirit guiding me. When I follow that, I see, me drawing near to the Lord. I see a positive result versus disobeying that and reaping what I sow, right? Because I do have that free will. I have that free choice, I should say, to choose to obey that, which we call it conscience, that I call the Holy Spirit, versus, I could choose to not obey it and live with those consequences. But I don't think, oh, sorry, Bonnie, go ahead.
I'm sorry. If you are not done, I didn't mean to talk over you.
It's okay.
I just feel like if he has a message to give you, he's going to give it to you in any way that works for you to receive it. And I swear that I have heard him. And whether it's in my mind or of what it is, it's, I just really feel that, I know that the message was from God, but I don't know. And when I hear it, I do whatever it says.
Well, and I think it's fair to ask, right? God isn't elusive. He's not hiding. When we hear that, or if we believe that, hey, Lord, is that you? Isn't that what Samuel did, right? Like he heard the Lord's voice. He's like looking for him. His helper was like, hey, someone's calling you. It was audible. They heard it, right? So you can reply, Lord, is that you? Right? Like we have the ability to do that through Jesus Christ. Like his grace that he offered us that's exactly what it is, right? It's not that we're getting justice, the punishment we deserve. It's not mercy where it's we're just not getting anything. It's a get out of jail free card. It's grace. It's that next step. It's not only are we forgiven, but when our Heavenly Father looks at us, he sees Jesus. There's a huge difference there. So we have that salvation through Jesus, if you will, that connection to our Creator, our God the Father, through what he did, right? So we live in a day now post Jesus where Samuel lived in a day pre Jesus, right? They were the prophets and stuff as far as that goes. Now we have that direct line. We don't need a priest to intervene. We don't need to go to a holy man and ask him. We can if you want, right? However, we have the ability to just go directly to the Father ourselves.
I still feel that the more we strive to be closer to him and like in talking to him and reading the word, that it opens that channel where it's more spiritual, if that's the right word.
It's like any relationship, right? The more time you spend in it, the stronger it's going to be.
Yes. Yeah. And that's, excuse me, still have that stupid cough. Those who accept and met the Holy Spirit, sometimes strongly, and I get good. And that's when I really feel it heavily. I just burst into tears. It's like, I don't know. I've seen other people react differently. My uncle being a Pentecostal preacher, I've seen people just fall on the floor or look like they're having convulsions. I don't know. I've seen some different things. Thankfully, that hasn't happened to me. It would scare the crud out of me, but I guess he knows that. So had that happen, but it's definitely something that you can feel to your core. And that's the thing.
And you could check it in the Bible. Like if you have the Holy Spirit isn't going to speak anything to you that's contrary to the Bible. So when you get these revelations, if you will, in your heart, you hear it in your mind, however that works, you can check it with the Word of God. If it's in there, you'll find it. If it's in there, it's good. It's true. Hold on to that. Right?
Yeah. Kiss off. That's the one thing I noticed whenever I really committed and just really turned my life over to God. Bad things were just like really piling on, and I think it's because evil just can't stand it, and they'll do everything to block it. Make your car
Well,
not start when you're trying to go to church or whatever. I mean, it just seems like the attack gets stronger from the evil.
the we are to have courage, right? So let's talk about before you even have the car trouble. Like you can't, like, all right, I'm going to be nice here. The evil one will speak to us lies. That's his number one tool, right? Like people want to
Yeah,
say, like, oh, the devil's changing the words in the Bible. No, he doesn't have to do that. He's got his stupid people that are worshiping him and that are causing chaos, confusion, and trouble all across this world. They're the ones doing the stupid stuff, not him. He's sitting back, maybe whispering something here, whispering a lie there, telling you, Bonnie, that, you know what, you're not. Uh-oh,
um,
what's that?
excuse me. Hey, Ken, good to see you. It's another Amber Alert. We've been having so many of them lately. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I kind of forgot what I was saying now.
The lies, Satan's
Ah,
lies.
yeah, that's his number one tool is lies. So he'll say, Bonnie, you're not enough. People don't like you. You have no friends. And this is your mind speaking to you in those moments. You're going to have problems here. Don't even try canning anything because it's going to be an absolute disaster and failure. So
Yeah,
he's getting you before you even try. He's stopping you before you even try to do anything. That's his job. Now, Kissoff brings up a very good point. They say it's draining. Now that's a very good point.
yeah,
So we are vessels, right? This is a common this is a sermon, if you will, in the Bible. We are jars of clay, right? The potter made us these jars of clay, and he is the well of living water. We fill up from him. We get full, right? Now we don't just fill up and say, "Oh, I'm full. Haha, I'm done. Look at me, guys. I'm full." You're not full. You need to go to the well. That's not how we're supposed to work. We're that vessel, that jar of clay that pours the living water that Jesus poured in us into them, right? That grace. So that grace he poured into us and filled us to overflowing to, we go around and filling other people's cups, right?
yes,
It's literally draining. We're emptying ourselves into them, the most precious thing we have, the most valuable thing we have. We're pouring it into people, and they're nothing but broken vessels. They're a bunch of broken jars, and you'll find yourself emptying yourself in half of them, and they'll never fill up. But we still do it. Why? Because we know to go back to the well when we need to fill our cup to overflowing again. And we have to remember that. We have to remember to go back to the well of living water to the point that we are filled to overflowing. And sometimes we get back there. We're jars of clay. We got chips, cracks, dropped a couple of times. He makes us whole again. He reshapes that vessel, if you will, to be solid again, fills it to overflowing, and then where we are ready to go back out. So when you find yourself drained, and because that's normal, and if you don't if you're probably doing it wrong, really. If you ask me, if at times throughout your life you're not drained, and in these moments where you like, shoot, I need to go back to the well right now. I don't care what time of day it is. I don't care where I am. I'm going there right now, right? So, and if you don't have, I think you may be doing it wrong if you don't have those, in my opinion. But nevertheless, you have to recognize in that moment, it's not this person's fault. It's not the people around me. I need to go back to the well, get filled up, get myself right, and then get back out there doing it again.
That's good. And that's true. And that's where no ego, no pride. It's empty all that. And I agree with that. But that's showing true compassion and love for another human, isn't it?
Yeah, but look, yes. So, but there are people that will take advantage of that, not necessarily on purpose. It's just in them. They're broken people. They don't want to be fixed. They're not looking for it. Yet we fight for them. We fight for them. We fight for them. And it's like that analogy I gave. I'm pouring water into something that has a hole in the bottom. They're never going to get filled up. You know, they're not even going to be able to retain any of it. Right?
Right. Good talk, Ronan. Thank
I
you.
know it might have been a little heavy. I'm not trying to come down on anybody, but don't listen to those lies. Don't listen to those lies. Obviously, there's nowhere in the Bible it's going to say you're a loser. The Bible doesn't tell you that. The Bible is not going to tell you you don't have any friends. It's not in the Bible. It's not true. It's a lie. The Bible isn't going to tell you you're a loser. You're beyond salvation. Uh, no one likes you. Whatever the crap. The Bible is not going to say that. Those are the lies from the evil, and they tell us. He tells us so that way. He hinders us. He hinders our movements. Now you're scared to do something, unrighteously so.
Yes. Amen.
That's right, Brew. Jesus has to fill that hole, and then they can be filled up. And he offers that to everybody. All you got to do is ask, right? There's no sequence of words. It's only sincerity of heart. That's all you got to do. And that's the hardest thing for people to do. We're all broken. We're all broken vessels. Wait, no one's perfect. No one comes out right. Let's be real, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's what I said the last time. You try to be perfect and it'll drive you insane. It's not trying to be perfect, it's trying to be the best you can each day. We're gonna stumble.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather stumble in being like, and I mean, stumble in whose eyes? Let's be real. If I'm being obedient to the Lord and people are picking on me, they may see me as stumbling, but I know what I'm doing. I'm rock solid. They can't shake me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I feel myself stumbling or swaying from the Lord, it's a big problem. That's time to go back to that well, right? It's time to
Right.
go back to that well and get filled back up because something else is filling me up, and I don't want any of that. I don't want any of the world filling up my cup. I don't want anything the world has to offer in me at all. It's no good. No, no. That's bitter waters. That's that lukewarm swamp water that gets full of mosquitoes, algae, bacteria. I don't want none of that. I like that cold spring water, fresh, that's the good stuff. That's the only thing I put in my cup, right?
Yeah. So you don't think the uplifting people can help do that also? Like when you're like, if somebody's having a really hard time, and
Yeah,
it's
that's exactly what you're doing. You're pouring that living water into them. So when you have a friend that is going through a hard time and you're spending time with them, you're being kind with them, you're winning favor with them, right? We're coming back to that proverb you spoke earlier. Now you're with, see, now it's perfect, right? Because now you're winning favor with them, you're spending time with them, you're loving them, and they're receiving that grace in that moment. You're winning favor with the man, if you will, mankind, your neighbor, however, insert whatever you want there, right? But that's exactly what it is, Bonnie. You're exactly right. So when you do that, there is a point where you see yourself being drained, right? And it's not
yeah,
a bad thing. I'm not saying it. I'm saying this is what we're supposed to do. You're supposed to do
no,
that
it's
and pour yourself into them. But there comes a point where it could be dangerous. You need to step back and go back to the well yourself. Because
yeah,
once you're empty, what do you have left to pour into somebody? Nothing. You got to be careful because the world might try to fill you up with some crap. You don't want
yes,
that. So you
and that,
spend time with them, you love with them, you lift them up, you share grace with them, and then you go fill yourself back up so you can go back and do it some more, right?
yes. When we were doing the pray-a-thons, and there were so many needing prayer, and up there praying for hours, um, it was draining, and we would have to take breaks, um, because it gets overwhelming too. You're like, you're hurting for them just like they're hurting. You're just, I don't know how to explain it. It's like,
It's called
so
empathy.
you got to be refilled.
And we've all needed that. Like we talk about being the vessel that pours life into somebody else. We're the same. We need to be able to receive that. When we know someone is speaking life to us and pouring that into us from their vessel, we have to recognize that, we have to respect that, and we receive that at times too. We're no better than the next guy or gal, whatever, right? No better than the next person. So when they're pouring themselves into us, being the children of God, if you will, we receive that, we recognize that, and it's a reminder of us to actually go back to that well too. At times we go through life and there's things that we say, God, why? How could you do this to me? What did I do to deserve this? We've all done it, right? And it's in
Yeah,
those moments that we've distanced ourselves from God when we talk like that. We should know better, but we don't. We're human. We fail. We are what we are. But in those moments, our brothers and sisters in Christ come around us and fill us up, right? They each pour into us. They spend time with us. They bring
yes,
us baked goods. They bring us meals. They help out, whatever, right? They do what they can in those moments so that way we're able to say, okay, I repent and I have to go back to that well. I realize where I've been, what I've done. And it's
yeah,
easier for us to do that. We have the ability to do that. We're lifted up each other that way.
yeah. I don't, I don't know how you tell if you're truly an empath. Um, I feel it. It if somebody's hurting, it it just, I hurt for them. I hurt with them. I don't know. I don't know what empath is exactly, I guess, but um, I've always felt like, you know, some people, well, it's just the chat. No, they're people. And um, I used to describe it like little lights shining all through the chat. That's cool, kiss off. Yeah, Pebbles. Yep, brewing money does not make you happy. I've seen some of the most miserable people, rich as can be, but money can't buy happiness. That's for sure. Hey, Rich Runner, good to see you.
Money can buy happiness, but not for long.
They could buy me a boat.
Yeah. How long's that happiness of the boat gonna last?
Exactly. And that's the stuff the world will fill your cup with, right? They say, oh, you're empty. Let me put some money in there. Let me put some stock options in there. How about some technology? You love technology, right? I got some sweet technology. You're going to love it.
Well, ready to close that? Or y'all want to keep on
it's
this
late.
discussion? We've been going for 2 hours. But it was really good talk. Thank you. I needed it. Yeah. I can see a lot of others did too. And this is way better than the conversation I was gonna have.
We better end it. We'll end it on a high note, Bonnie. Don't take it back down.
No, I'm not.
And thanks for coming up with us, man. It's good to see your face and like actually meet the Marshmallow Man and talk with you for a while. I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, you silly kids. All right, y'all. I'm going to close this one up.
Okay.
Start playing music and watch the sunrise. Yeah. I remember those days, Brew, and that was a lot of fun. But babysitting, having to be up early in the mornings has kind of put a damper on my late nights. Oh, they went Marshmallow Man. Marshmallow Man, thank you so much for being here with us. Running for mayor. Mayor of what? I don't know. All right, y'all. Carrie, good to see you. Y'all have a good night. God bless you. Don't let the stuff get you down. Visit that well. Get your fill. Go back out there and go at it again. We've got this. As long as we have God.
Amen, Ann. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Love ya.
Good night.